Stay tuned for Retire Your Way with Dale Soutas, a leading financial retirement strategist and the founder of Soutas Financial and Insurance Solutions, right here in Fresno. Every week, Dale discusses pressing financial topics of the week, ranging from reliable income strategies to our financial markets, including Social Security, tax strategies, wealth management, RMDs, legacy planning, long-term care solutions, and most importantly, how to make sure you have enough guaranteed lifetime income to retire your way with choice and dignity. From taxes to trends to total transparency, Dale covers it all. And now, here is Retire Your Way and Dale Soutas. This is Retire Your Way with Dale Soutas of Soutas Financial. Yes, we realize that there is a lot of market volatility. What does that mean for your investments? What does that mean for you? As we've been saying over the last few weeks, we want to stick to the fundamentals and make sure that you are getting a review, getting your financial processes covered. And if you don't have somebody you can talk to, you can always talk to Dale Soutas. Dale, how are you doing this? Oh, come on, everybody. We have to get going.
How'd you let them in?
Shush.
Yeah.
Be quiet. Dale, how are you this week?
Doing great. How are you, Spike?
I'm okay. I think we both ran into the booth, sat in our chairs, and went, okay, let's get going. It sounds like it's been a busy week for both of us.
Yes. I was even asking my wife last night. It's tomorrow's what? Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday?
Yeah. Been one of those kinds of weeks.
Yeah, it was one of those. Actually, early in the week, I was saying it was actually a Tuesday night, and I was saying, "What's tomorrow? Is tomorrow Thursday or Friday?" And I was way off. That's what I'm getting at. The week was so busy,
and it scares me because everybody knows how exactly alike you and I both are. But I did something very similar to that this week. It was the middle of a Wednesday, and I said, you know what? I was talking to somebody, said, it just always seems like Mondays are like this. I feel like I've been behind since morning. He's like, yeah, you're really behind because today is Wednesday.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, that's what I feel like, man. I lost 2 days of the week already. Oh, man, been one of those weeks.
That's a good problem. We keep busy.
Well, yeah, it's a good problem that you are helping people, so you are staying busy by helping people out there. But sometimes these news cycles seem to be going on and on and on. A lot of the same kind of volatility. Now, one thing I want to remind folks of is I was actually just writing some commercials this week to kind of remind people about market volatility. This isn't the first rodeo with market volatility, right, Dale? I mean, we can go back 2020. Right. The markets lost like 37% in a matter of like 6 weeks, but those markets recovered. The markets lost 35 to 40%, depending on which ones, in 2008. But eventually those markets recovered. There was the dot-com bust. The NASDAQ itself lost almost 80% of its value, close to $5 trillion. It recovered itself back. But here's the thing. We're seeing market volatility right now. I think what we're always trying to caution people is that with today's market volatility, if you're close to or in retirement, you might not have that same kind of recovery time.
And I see that all the time. People are coming in and they've got this nice nest egg, and they don't realize that because their money's mainly tied up on the stock market, that can make a big difference in starting to be retired or staying retired. You know, because it doesn't take a big drop to.
Yeah, to make a difference. So if those funds that you are withdrawing from are exposed to market volatility, that brings in things like sequence of returns risk, the recuperation risk time, how long it might take. So neither Dale or I or nobody out there has a crystal ball to say when the markets are going to recover, how they're going to recover. I believe in the long-term strength of markets. I look back at the 100-year history of the markets. I feel that they will recover. This is actually not the worst drop in history. There's just a lot of factors right now.
Just a lot of craziness.
There's a lot of craziness.
Things are just going up and down. But, if I may, I'll kind of throw out an idea for people to encourage them to come to one of our Fresno state
yeah.
events.
Yeah.
You know, we talked about sequence of returns and then the recovery stuff. These are things I detail out so people can see, because many times they don't realize that the ups and downs of markets, how it affects, if you're relying on a lump of money, you know, you've got this savings invested, however, but it's volatile, how that affects, you know, your longevity of that money. The other thing is, I like to point out is, let's say you have 100,000 and the market drops 30%. Well, you know, easy math, you have 700,000. Well, what does it have to recover to get back up to 100,000? Well, 30%. No, it has to recover by 43% to just get back to even. So, you know, people aren't factoring that in. And when you are close to in retirement, you know, that can be devastating. You don't want to have to go back to work because, our savings dropped, our retirement plan.
Or if you're this year, if you're thinking that, I was going to retire in 6 months or a year or 2 years from now, and you're thinking, wait a second, I just lost. I think right now, a lot of the markets are close to somewhere between 8 to 10% down, depending on when this broadcast airs and depending on what happens on the markets and the overnight markets on the weekends. But it's not the worst compression of markets that we've seen. But 5 or 10% on $500,000 worth of savings, $1 million,
but that's
$2 million.
still a chunk.
That's still a chunk. Thank you.
And,
I'm not
and
minimizing.
So I had just this last week, I had somebody who was talking to that, just a few weeks earlier, we were talking, and I got their info and I put it into the planning software, and I'm, doing it up, and they came back. I'm showing them their rough draft of their retirement income plan, but we had to adjust, the amounts in the 401k and these retirement accounts, because one of them dropped just a little over 34% since the last time I talked to him. Another one only dropped 3.8. But see, so how is it invested? The difference makes
makes a difference.
So,
the difference makes a difference in what they were invested.
It's different too. But you think about it too. The retirement red zone, as we talk about, is 5 years before and 5 years after you retire. And so you can't be gambling too much in that stretch. You need to be aware of how the market can, take away your retirement. You can't just keep investing like the kids do, because yes, over 10, 20 years, it's going to be fine. But as you get closer, that's when we start to really analyze, how do you have the retirement you want? How do you have the income you want and need to be able to do all the things you want to do? So, don't wait until I'm a few months from retiring. That we can help you then, but if it's earlier, even if we can't do anything where we move your money or make a profit, it doesn't matter. If you know that you have help, maybe just some basic coaching on how to minimize risk before you retire, how valuable can that be for you?
I couldn't agree more. So two different things here. You can call the phone number. You can come to one of the live events. You can go to the website, learn more about Dale, and then do all of that together. But dial the phone number right now. Number one, for some peace of mind. Let's do a review. As Dale said, number one, there's no cost. Number two, maybe there's something he can help you with, maybe not. But the conversation is no cost. The review of what you're doing right now is no cost. You can maybe come to one of the live events. And here's why I encourage one of the live events, is that you could be in a room full of people who could be feeling a lot of the same things. And I think when you're sitting at home and you're worrying, or you're in your car, or you're in your basement listening to a podcast, or you're looking at your accounts and you're feeling like, oh my gosh, look what I did wrong. Realizing that you're not alone, that there's a lot of people who are worried about this stuff, and the community coming together going, hey, what do we do? Let's have that open discussion together. And you can do that with Dale. So first of all, call 833-856-1382. There are people standing by. You're not going to interrupt me and Dale right now on the show, just like Dale was trying to. You're going to go over to the Secure Call Center. They'll set up an appointment for you. And you can come to one of the live events. What do you say, Dale?
Exactly. Well, they're probably driving around right now listening to this. So make it easy on you. Just put it on cruise control, sit back.
Don't.
Don't do it that way?
Oh, boy. Well, I don't know. I guess it depends on what version of self-driving car you have, but I'm...
Or just pull over and...
Yeah, or have
Put the number in your phone.
sitting next to
Yeah.
you. Or if you're driving the grandkids around, have one and hand the grandkids your phone. They're going to play games on it for a while, but just say, hey, make sure you type in these numbers and dial us. There are
Save the number.
a lot of solutions. But I love that. Come to the live events. You can ask Dale your questions. You can ask the team questions. You can talk to other fellow folks who live around the entire Fresno, California area who have come to the live event to go, is this also on your mind? Let's come together as a community. It's one of the best ways that we solve our problems. As they often say, it takes a village. Well, it even comes to your financial decisions. Sometimes it takes a village to make sure that we doing these things and doing all the things that we need to. Let's come together. On the other hand, let's not just take the advice of Bob at the water cooler and, Sarah, the neighbor, across your hedged fence there that, oh, what are you doing right now? Let's make sure that you're getting advice from somebody who does this all of the time, somebody who's been doing this for decades, retirement planning, health planning, Social Security planning, long-term care planning, income planning. This is what Soutas Financial is all about. Call 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382. Dale, on your website, what is there? I think there's a video. What other information do you have there? Can people schedule an appointment as well?
A couple videos. On the main page, scroll down, you'll see what I went through as a child and even as a young teen. 4 different body casts, and what I've been through. It tells my story and how I look at you. The other, you could see a 2-minute trailer on the Baby Boomer Dilemma movie. And you can also sign up for one of our events that are coming up at Fresno State. Yeah.
Fascinating experience, that Baby Boomer Dilemma. I think you were talking about somebody a few weeks ago. I think they called in from the radio show, had been hearing us. You sent them out the link. They watched the show and they wanted to come in and talk to you. It's a movie about literally the Baby Boomer Dilemma. We've been saving tax deferred for a long time. What does that mean? How much of your investments are exposed to the markets? We need to get control of that. So call 833-856-1382. All kinds of free tools. If you missed them, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this message.
How do you know if you're retirement ready? That's a question many people ask themselves as they approach their golden years. We believe the answer can be complex and depends on many factors, such as your savings, monthly expenses, and lifestyle goals. At Soutas Financial, we can help you determine if you're retirement ready. We'll work with you to assess your financial situation, identify any potential income gaps, and develop a customized plan that aligns with your goals. Don't leave your retirement to chance. Call us today to learn how we can help you work towards achieving financial security and peace of mind in retirement. Call Dale Soutas and the team at Soutas Financial for your complimentary retirement readiness review. Call 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
In your retirement spending plan, which accounts do you take from first to pay your monthly expenses? Your 401ks, 403bs, or 457s, or your IRAs, or your Roth accounts, investment, or savings accounts? Do you turn on your Social Security right away or delay? Do you use the growth from your mutual funds, ETFs, or bond funds first? Did you sell your business to create income, or do you have life insurance or annuity options? Or what about using HSAs for medical costs? Are you unclear if you have a retirement income strategy at all? You have accumulated assets for retirement for years. Now you need an efficient strategy to make certain these assets work together and last as long as you need them to. Call Dale Soutas of Retire Your Way and Soutas Financial for your own complimentary written income plan right away. 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382. Or you can write Dale at dale@soutas.com. SOUTAS.com.
Get your comprehensive complimentary Retire Your Way review by calling 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
This is Retire Your Way with Dale Soutas of Soutas Financial right here in California. If you'd like to sit down and get your retirement plan started, reviewed, or if you're worried about today's market volatility, Social Security, taxes, where they're going to go, give us a call. You can set up an appointment. It is no cost. 833-856-1382. Here's
if I may.
Yes, you may.
So it's not just a review only. Mm-hmm. You can actually have us map out your retirement income plan to project out, will you be able to pay your bills with inflation? Will you be able to play as much as you want? Will you be able to keep yourselves out of a nursing home? The paycheck, playcheck, care check we build into your plan, and we can build that income plan. We technically could charge to do that. We choose not to. If you want to work with us, great. You'll know how we make money. If you don't want to work with us, you don't care how we make money. So, but it doesn't cost anything to have a projected retirement income plan put together with us.
Yeah, and that's literally mapping out the assets that you have. I had, it was interesting. I got some feedback from a radio station recently because they have lots of different financial shows on there. And they said, you should tell people what your minimum is. I hear that on all of these other shows. And I wrote back to him, I said, thank you for your feedback. You don't know what you're talking about. I appreciate you. Have a nice day. Look, man, to set a threshold of you need to have this amount before you're allowed to call. Now, first of all, Dale, you and I know this, and I think the listener realizes this because our listeners are pretty smart people. If you don't have anything to work with as far as savings, there's not a lot that Dale can really help you with. Now, we can have long-term care coverage discussions because there's a lot of different rules to the state of California, and there's some wonderful programs. We can talk to you about timing of Social Security, but as a financial advisor, you also help people with investments, that income strategy, tax reduction strategies. So everybody has saved different things. You might have a majority of your savings in your house and not a lot on the saving on the outside. So what do we do to create a plan for you? That's up to Dale to help you figure out. I just don't like when somebody says, those minimums. You got to have a minimum to call.
I just earlier, within the last couple of weeks, I had somebody, I don't have, $1 million. And I said, that's okay. You have what you have, and let's look at what you need, and let's see how to leverage what you have so it will last. And in fact, it was funny. She said she had been to different financial offices, and they looked at what she had, and they flat out said, your money won't last past your early 80s. And I'm looking at her, and I already worked up a plan that showed if she lives to age 100, she's still going to have money left over, for whoever she wants it to go to. So it's the strategies we use are to make sure your income will last. But yes, I hear it all the time. Oh, you got to have $1 million. No, you don't. What if you only have 200,000? What if you only have 500,000? Don't worry about it. Just come in. Even if you don't have much of anything, how can we coach you, to
maybe you coach in the right
maybe.
Direction of some of the state programs that can help you with long-term care coverage. Years ago, when we even started, you talked about how different it is for long-term care in each one of the counties. Different locations have different programs, and there's so many different things. Maybe there are ways that Dale can show you how to maximize your Social Security if you've already turned it on with tax strategies. There are different things, but please, folks, there is no minimum. I would only say this, and Dale, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I just say if you're serious about retirement planning, that's kind of what our focus is. If it's important to you, then it's important to Soutas Financial. That's what we say. So don't worry about that silly number thing.
If you're serious about knowing if your money's going to last, give us a call. And the big thing people don't even think about is, what if I need care down the road? What if I need to be in a nursing home? Hopefully not. But what if I need care? We regularly see people, we've helped thousands through the years to protect their assets from so-called spend down. But how do you build into your income plan what we call the care check to keep you out of a nursing home? Because it can be very expensive. People don't realize if you're paying out of pocket because you have to stay in a nursing home or your loved one does, the current cost in California is over $12,000 a month. So I'll stay at home, but I need 24/7 care. Well, just double what it costs to be in a nursing home. People don't realize it's a whole lot more. So, there's programs or there's ways to, correct that. I mean, if it's a single person and they are determined to stay at home, you're talking about wiping out, a lot of money over not too long of a period. But if you're married and your spouse wants you home still, then we want to make sure you have a system where your spouse can get a break. And that's not going to cost $25,000. What if you need an extra $2,000 to $5,000 a month to keep your loved
Maybe
one
like
at
a
home?
part-time help, like somebody coming 2 to 3 hours a day, or like every other day, or 3 days a week
Could
or
be
something.
a little bit every day. It could be, yeah, exactly. But what if it's not practical for you and or your spouse to stay at home? It's not safe. Then how do we still keep you out of a nursing home and get you into some kind of what we call a cruise ship on land? Those are some really nice assisted living places that they spoil you. They provide, the shopping, cooking, cleaning. They provide meals, and they can take care of you. So there's a lot of options, but people don't realize, they don't even plan for it most of the time, that long-term care can be very expensive, can wipe out your savings and all that.
In fact, so I had uncovered some numbers, and I was wondering about life savings and healthcare in retirement, just doing a little bit of research. Again, as we said, we don't have a threshold, but I just went through some numbers, and I'm usually assuming like a 30 or 35 year retirement. I'm not looking at, at 65, you go to 70, 72, and that's it. So when I'm coming up with these numbers, it's generally what these kinds of things are based on. And I want to say it was Fidelity, but there was a new updated study. Usually they say a couple who reaches 65 together will spend around $400,000 out of pocket on their own healthcare costs. I think that means like paying for their Medicare, then out of pocket costs. So if you're nest egg,
but the majority would be for long-term care of that.
Well, that's the thing, is that the healthcare cost that they were talking about in this study was not including the costs of long-term care, meaning that you're going to spend a lot on because you've got your Medicare premiums, right? And then you've got your supplements. And then you've got things like pharmaceuticals that you sometimes have to pay out of pocket for, whatever those might be, and that there are costs. There are just, and things still now like eye care and ear care and some of the supplements that cover a little bit of that. But your Medicare, all those costs, those things that you spend money on, don't necessarily cover long-term care down the road. Am I correct there?
Yeah, I've heard the $300,000 to $400,000 amount for your general
You're
medical
not as on board with that.
Healthcare needs. Yeah, I can see how some of that can be, but it all depends on the types of insurance you have. You have, Medicare. If you have a supplement that's like a Plan G or something, you'll have premiums, and they will increase, but I don't know if it's going to be that much just on that side. Really, the killer of people's savings is if you need care, and most people don't have something in place to cover that.
Yeah. And then you were saying, so you said the number 12,000. Is that an average? Is that the high cost? And I know you're not trying to use scare at our audience here.
No.
Where are those numbers
California, we get a report every year about, it's coming up soon, what the average private pay cost for a semi-private room in a nursing home, not assisted living, in a nursing home. We get that figure early April usually, so it should be coming any time. And currently it's over 12,500, I believe. But locally in the Central Valley, you're probably looking at 8,000 to 10,000, depending on the facility, if you're paying out of pocket. But there are ways to mitigate that or not have that. Or even there's ways where you don't have to stay in a nursing home, and we can get benefits for you to stay at home or some kind of assisted living cruise ship, as we call it.
Yeah, but you were even saying semi-private, meaning that you're...
you're always sharing a room. Yeah, that's semi.
80s or 90s.
If you're in a private room, you're talking more. Yeah.
Man, you're 80s or 90s and you're back to living like you're in college. You've got a roommate there.
Yeah.
And who knows? So, if you want to prepare for these costs. So that's what we wanted to talk about, was kind of some of those solutions, is that addressing it, going blindly into your retirement without talking about healthcare. I know it's not always the most fun subject, but there are things we can do to cover it, right? There are things that at least we can consider with your own savings, correct? Like what kinds of tools? What do you like?
Well, I'm not a big fan for like long-term care. I'm not a big fan of the long-term care insurance tools because you pay forever. And if you decide to fall asleep one night and not wake up the next day, and you didn't use that insurance, it's a lot of money you pay. So I build long-term care, the benefits into your income plan. It's simply one of the ways we do. There are other tools. Maybe we could touch on that next. But there are other tools that have some additional long-term care benefits, built into them that if you need them, they're there. If you don't, you're not wasting money on, the insurance.
And as you have said as well, there are wonderful programs here in the state of California, but sometimes navigating your way through or finding out exactly what you're eligible for can feel very confusing, very hard to do all the research on your own. So this is something that Dale and Katya and the team have helped with. So give us a call. Healthcare in retirement can really eat away at your nest egg. Let's not go blindly into that. Let's have a plan for that. And that is part of the income plan. And Dale said that he would do that. No cost to you. Let's sit down and look at it together. 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382. Call that right now. Folks are standing by to schedule an appointment for you. We'll be right back.
Do you know how much you might be paying in fees within your retirement accounts? Just 1 or 2% in hidden fees can eat into your savings and potentially hinder your ability to achieve your retirement goals. But how do you know if you're currently paying these hidden fees and how do you find them? Dale Soutas and the team at Soutas Financial can help you find the fees within your investments and explore solutions designed to assist with minimizing them. Take control of your retirement savings so that you can work towards keeping more of your hard-earned money. Call for your very own complimentary Retire Your Way review and fee finder report. Let us help work towards finding, exposing, and helping to eliminate those potential hidden fees for you. Call Dale Soutas and Soutas Financial today for your complimentary fee review. 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
As a valued radio listener of Retire Your Way, Dale Soutas and the entire team of retirement professionals at Soutas Financial invite you to schedule your very own complimentary retirement planning session. If you don't have a retirement strategy mapped out that includes low-fee investment elections, tax minimization strategies, decumulation plans from your savings that will last as long as you need them to, then call for your own retirement planning session, complimentary for our valued radio listeners. 833-856-1382. Are you able to lower your taxes in retirement? Are you unclear about your Social Security, Medicare, investment fees, and risks, or how to produce ongoing income that lasts your entire retirement? Then call Dale Soutas of Soutas Financial, 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
Get your comprehensive complimentary Retire Your Way review by calling 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
This is Retire Your Way with Dale Soutas, financial advisor, founder of Soutas Financial right here in California. Before that bottom of the hour break, we were talking about how do you cover those healthcare costs in a long retirement. I mean, 30, 35 years of retirement. Let's face it, none of us are getting healthier as we get to our 90s. So we're going to have more costs.
I'm getting younger.
Yeah. We don't want to drain down our nest egg for both ourselves and or our partner, right? Leaving them with the bag. Now, maybe you have things like life insurance, so you can use the life and savings. And then when you pass, there would be a big life insurance amount that would pass to a partner to cover what was lost. But all different tools. And I got to say, probably not the first conversation that people want to have when they come in your office, right? Do you usually have to get that convo started?
Well, I mean, think about it. For many, many years, our radio ads would talk about how to protect from spend down. Like if a loved one's in a nursing home, how to protect from getting the spend down. If you try to get on Medi-Cal, you got to spend down to $2,000. All these things is what people have heard. And, so the long-term care Medi-Cal program, of which we learned about back in 1997 in California, how it works and how to protect assets, it's still something that can be used, but there's no more so-called spend down in California because they now don't look at your bank accounts, investments, properties. They only look at your income. And the income they look at is only like Social Security, pensions, IRA distributions, net rental income, things like that. So, it's easier for people now to qualify. We don't have to, jump through hoops and show them how to protect their, nest egg. The nest egg can stay protected. And then they hear, well, if you get on this Medi-Cal program, you can't get into better facilities. That's false. Almost all the facilities take both what we call Medicare for short-term rehab and Medi-Cal for long-term or custodial care. So you're not getting into, better facilities based on how you pay. That's not true. And there are programs that even if you qualify for the Medi-Cal program and you're in a nursing home, but you want your loved ones and you want to be at home, there's ways to use waivers to get sometimes in excess of $4,000 a month for in-home care, which would be much more than just general in-home supportive services, as we call IHSS. So these things that we've been helping people with for a long time, these programs are out there. Yet younger ones, brother sister types, again, I preach to them, let's build a care check into your income plan. So way down the road, we're not dependent on whether this Medi-Cal program works or not, and things of that sort. So, but for ones who have loved ones that are declining or already in need of care, and you're not sure what to do, again, it doesn't cost a dime to know what your rights and options are. Call, set a time. Katya has been helping families with this in our office, the long-term care side, with the Medi-Cal program, VA programs, for about 10 years now. So she knows the ins and outs, and sometimes I have to ask her questions, even though I used to do it myself.
Yeah.
So it's fun. But there are different ways to tackle the long-term care concerns people have, but don't be shy.
Dale,
especially.
And I will say, I really do enjoy how much you like to just help people with this. It can be confusing. You've got your loved one that you're trying to care for, whether it's your spouse, whether it's your mom and dad, family member, friend, neighbor, whoever it is, and you start going through all the research on your own and you're not sure which ones apply. This is stuff that Dale and the team, as he said, Katya Flores. How's Katya doing? I'll ask you about that, by the way. But we've got folks who've been doing this for a very long time, but we want to keep update with the new laws. What are the thresholds? And maybe even there's just a little bit differences in the locations of where you're at on how you can get either at-home assistance or in-a-facility assistance. Give us a call. Call Dale and the team. There's no cost to talk about how we can try to protect your assets and protect your health in retirement. 833-856 1382 is the phone number. Call that right now. You're not going to interrupt me and Dale. It's going to go to our call center, the secure call center. Live human beings standing by right now to schedule an appointment for you. 833-856-1382. Say, I'd like my medical, financial, income, tax, estate planning, healthcare, Social Security review. Right?
Or hobby review. What are your hobbies?
Oh, that's a whole different rabbit hole. How is Katya doing? Is she also helping you out with all the healthcare stuff?
Yeah. Oh yeah, she's wonderful. She's doing great.
We'll get her back on the radio sometime soon.
Sometime soon, probably within a couple weeks, I hope.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you think about options, okay, if I may, long-term care insurance.
Sure.
Okay, it's focused on one thing: if you need care. And most policies today, you can get the benefits to pay for care at home, in assisted living, or even in a nursing home. Okay. You pay. But what if you can have something that maybe you do pay into that if you don't use it, the money's not lost? In fact, even a larger amount goes to your loved ones tax-free. Obviously, I'm probably talking about life insurance, right? So there's some life insurance contracts that build in what we call living benefits. And a living benefit is because normally if you buy a $1 million life insurance policy, you're thinking, well, that'll help my spouse or,
yeah, exactly.
whatever.
Yeah.
It goes to them. It's not, I can't take it with me. Okay. But a lot of there's some very good companies that offer living benefits off of that $1 million death benefit. For instance, if you're terminally ill, so you have 12 to 24 months, the doctor says, you're going to die. Then you could take a major portion of that, usually about 75% of that 1 million. So 750,000 out of it while you're alive, tax free. And finish your bucket list if that's what you want or whatever. There's also chronic illness riders that insurance companies have built into these contracts that if you need care, then you can get a portion of sometimes up to 25% of that $1 million per year, $250,000 a year, to keep you out of a nursing. See, I would use it to keep out of a nursing home, not to pay a nursing home. So be in a cruise ship if you can't stay at home. But in other words, there are programs like that. So sometimes, we're using, we're leveraging the life insurance that way. And obviously, if you didn't need care, you just fell asleep one night and decide not to wake up the next day, yes, that $1 million passes on to your loved ones. But if you do need it, you could use it, and they still get the balance, whatever's left over of that $1 million. Even if you used, most of it up, they still have, some benefit. At least they can bury you, right? But the point being,
there's the optimism. Okay.
But the point being is that you're not throwing money out that you're not going to get the ultimate benefit of that contract. But again, there's also things that, like an annuity, you can have an annuity that provides income that's guaranteed the rest of your life. There's some companies that offer increasing income, so that income can increase to the point in your later years that it's way more than you really need. And obviously now you have more than enough money or income to take care of yourself at home or in assisted living, to cover the care check, as we call it. So there's various tools that can be used without worrying about going broke or without buying insurance that you have to keep the rest of your life. And most long-term care policies go up, like anything else, because the more people use it and the less people who are contributing into it, or, the premiums will go up. So I'm not a fan of that method. If you already have it, we'll review it and see, make sure we know how to use it down the road. Or if you get rate increases, let's review it. There's ways to possibly limit the increase or even eliminate the increase. I've helped people that way over the years too.
Yeah, I like that. We're kind of insulating what could actually wear down our life savings, those healthcare costs. And I know it could for some out there seem like a large bucket. Say, I've got a few $100,000, right? Have some life insurance, or we've got the house paid off. I think we've got some assets to work with. It's the surprise of how expensive this stuff can be later on in retirement. And we want to make sure that we've got tools in place certainly before that surprise happens. There are some tools that you can't really get depending on if your health declines. Now, from what I understand, though, the life insurance or sometimes the annuities that might have a rider for long-term care, do they have the same kind of health thresholds to be able to acquire them? And are you more of a fan of the life insurance? And again, my opinion don't matter here. If you prefer the life insurance ones, I get it. But
for younger people, it's easier to get the life insurance.
Gotcha.
And I only used one annuity that had basically a chronic illness rider, a long-term care benefit. And I'm not a giant fan of that. There's better ways. So, yes, you basically have to, pass a test to some degree to get those.
Yeah. So, folks, if you are worried about covering your healthcare costs in retirement, if you don't want to drain down your nest egg, this is something that Dale, the team do all of the time in the offices. This is literally what the office is about. And it's not just about growing your assets, working with a financial advisor, but a holistic advisor. We have the entire toolbox, the entire hardware store of tools available to us. Maybe you need something to cover you with insurance. Maybe you could use an income tool. Maybe you need to make sure that your investments are protected. Maybe you need estate planning tools. Maybe you haven't covered your will, or even just questions on Social Security. How do you take it? When do you take it? Taxes. That's what holistic planning is about. And that's what Dale can help you with. Give us a call. There's no cost to sit down and do your retirement review and put together that income plan. 833-856-1382 is the phone number for you to dial right now. Folks are standing by saying, you know what? I want to sit down with my financial advisor, Dale. Call 833-856-1382. We'll be right back.
Will you outlive your money? It's a scary thought, but it's a real concern for many people. In our opinion, that's why it's crucial to have a solid retirement plan in place. We believe that with proper planning, you can work towards making your money last as long as you do. Don't wait until it's too late to start thinking about your financial future. Call Dale Soutas and the team at Soutas Financial today to learn how we can help you create a retirement plan that can potentially help you obtain peace of mind and security for years to come. Don't let the fear of running out of money in retirement keep you up at night. Take control of your financial future today. Start your Retire Your Way review and financial plan by calling 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
Call Dale Soutas of Soutas Financial to uncover what you may not know about your retirement future. 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382. Welcome back to Retire Your Way with Dale Soutas, financial advisor and the founder of Soutas Financial right here in California. Thank you so much for talking about healthcare and healthcare needs in retirement. Another concept I wanted to ask you about, even though we have a lot of volatility, even though Dale is paying attention to the markets for you and tariffs and the Social Security conversation and the tax conversation, is Canada going to charge us more for sending us materials? Or are we going to charge them tariffs? We get it. It's all part of the conversation. It's important, but we want to make sure that you have your fundamentals covered. And a big thing is taking control of your own taxes. And I think one thing that's lost, I appreciate a little while ago, you were talking about how you'll do the income plan for somebody for no cost. But what about the tax efficient way? Because somebody might say, look, I think I've done the math. I don't think I'm going to run out of money. I think I'm okay. But isn't there a way where you can actually keep a little bit more of your own money if you do it tax efficiently?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, people don't realize that. In fact, the sooner we talk, the better. Because if you're coming into, just a year or two from retiring, there's probably not a whole lot you can change up on what you're doing to get, to lessen Uncle Sam's hand in your retirement. So, and the young people, they need to know better how to save. I like to liken it to what we talked about at the Fresno State workshop. Would you rather pay tax on $155,000 or on $1.1 million?
Okay.
Is that a hard question?
It's not for me.
Okay. But you and I, many people, we're all taught to, save tax today, put money into a retirement account, 401k, IRA, whatever. And we lower our income today, and when we get our taxes done, we're excited. Oh, look, and even this year I could put an extra 7,000 or 8,000 in, or 14 to 16 because I'm married. We can have that much more that we drop our income down, and look at the savings today. And I say, whoop-de-doo, it's not going to really help you in the long run. We were taught, like an example, I think I've said it before, a 35-year-old starting to save $5,000 a year into some kind of retirement account. And that money grows conservatively, let's say 7% on average. And they do that through age 65. Well, if you do the math, 5,000 years through that many years, they saved tax on $155,000. They lowered their taxable income over that period, by $155,000. And then that money, though, grows to being well over $500,000. And once they're retired, at some point, 73 now, they have to start taking a minimum out of that. So now that thing's worth $700,000, they take their minimums, they die at around 85, let's say, and they've taken out over $500,000 from that. And when you take it out, you pay taxes on it. So they paid tax on that $500,000, but now let's say there's still $500,000 or $600,000 left going on to their spouse or their kids. Well, that's still taxable. So they saved tax on $155,000 to ultimately pay tax on over $1 million. And whose retirement did they save for? Is what I usually like to ask people. So the better method is pay tax on that $155,000, have it grow tax-free, use a Roth 401k, use a Roth IRA, let it grow. Use properly structured life insurance. If I can get it out of my mouth.
Wait, before you hop there, I like what you're saying. Younger kids out there, for all of the 21-year-olds who I'm sure listen to Retire Your Way with Dale Soutas, start using your Roth 401k, or better yet,
Tell
if
our
your parents
kids.
out there. But what I want to ask you, what about their parents? What about their grandparents who might be listening to this show? For the young grandparents out there who are 60, 61, 62, is it worth it for them to start using a Roth 401k, even if it's only for a few years of savings?
It might be. Again, it depends on what's their real income right now. I mean, it also depends on what they have. There's too many variables. I'd have to ask 20 questions to answer that precisely.
How about from the simplicity of, and we get it, as a financial advisor, you have to be very careful. We can't give financial advice or tax advice to a general audience and say, hey, everybody go out there and do this. Let me ask you theoretically, just with one thought in mind, would it be worth it for a 60-year-old to save tax deferred, if it makes sense with all those other variables? Would it save to not tax deferred, to save by paying the taxes just to create a non-taxable bucket for them to use later down the road? That's all I'm asking. I know it depends on their tax bracket and all those other tools.
It very likely it would be smart. But what about the 60-year-olds or the 70, 80-year-olds? How about we teach our kids and grandkids how to save with Uncle Sam staying out of our retirement accounts? In other words, if you paid tax on that $155,000 over the years, okay, and it grew to $500,000, it grows in the Roth structure, it grows tax, free, really. And then that $600,000 or better in retirement, they can take that out tax free, the earnings and the principal they put in. So it's better to pay tax on $155,000 bottom line than on $1 million plus. So and that's what I try to get across to people for their kids and grandkids. I share the what's it called? The Power of Zero movie with them, which is same producer that put out the Baby Boomer Dilemma movie. So it's an excellent movie. Basically, the first half talks about why we need to keep Uncle Sam out of our retirement, and then the second half talks about how to do it. So it's very... it can be very helpful.
And I love what you're saying. By the way, if you're trying to figure out tax-efficient strategies for yourself, for your kids or the grandkids, you can call. As far as a financial advisor who does holistic planning, taxes are part of the conversation with Dale Soutas. You can give us a call. We'll do your tax review for retirement. It's unbelievable how much you might pay in taxes on all of those tax-deferred accounts you've been saving into for decades. Let's find out what you can do about it, or maybe even be able to help out the next generation. 833-856-1382 is the phone number. Folks are standing by. Schedule your appointment. No cost. You say, I want to talk about that retirement tax review. I appreciate what you're saying, though, is that let's try to... Here's the thing, Dale. Taxes are always going to move up and down. We've been in some of the lowest tax rates for the last several years.
Currently, yeah.
But they've changed over the several hundred years. In fact, the first, gosh, I got to see if I can remember this. Do you remember what year the first national tax bracket came out as? I want to say
2000, or I'm saying 2000.
No.
1913 was the first year that U.S. officially taxed citizens.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. You know what? You're going to get it again. I knew it was, I was going to say somewhere around, okay, shut up, everybody. I was going to say somewhere, I was going to say like 1920s or 30s, but yeah, it was 1913. Maybe that's why I had a 3 in my head. And wasn't it like 1%? Wasn't it like 1%? It was something ridiculous. It was something ridiculous, like 1 or 2% for the top people who were considered like really rich back then. So it's obviously increased over time.
The interesting thing, whereas today, the marginal rate, the highest rate typically, if you make a ton of money, is 37%. But from 1913 till today, that average marginal rate is over 60%. And I mean, think about when Reagan made movies. He only made 2 movies a year because he got $100,000 for each, and he knew everything above $200,000 back then was taxed at 94%. he wasn't dumb. He didn't work for free.
Yeah.
He just made a couple movies. So the other thing is, well, I already have this tax bomb. A lot of times I see people we're putting together their plan and they don't have a ton of money, liquid in the bank, and otherwise it's not retirement tax deferred. So they have, IRAs, 401ks, hundreds of thousands. But if it's possible and you have savings, we're also looking at how to do Roth conversions while you can to, while tax rates are on sale, so to speak, right now, get Uncle Sam out of as much of your retirement money as we can.
Yeah, those Roth conversions, we can take a look to see how much you already have saved in tax-deferred accounts. And let's be honest, it's sometimes hundreds of thousands, if not $1 million or $2 million or more. And you've been saving tax deferred. That was the carrot. You got to subtract that from your tax reporting every single year because you were saving for your retirement. That was kind of the incentive, along with the matching from your employer. But eventually, you're going to need to take that money out, either for yourself, for income. You're going to have to take it out because of RMDs eventually, or it will, if you don't use any of it, get passed over to your kids. And the stretch IRAs have been taken away, so then they'll have to take it out in 10 years. The whole point is, let's find out what your tax liabilities are right now on all of those tax-deferred accounts. And then Dale can show you what some possible options are, how to get Uncle Sam out of your back pocket. Do it carefully. Do it conscientiously to make sure that we don't bump up too many tax brackets. But you're going to pay those taxes eventually. So wouldn't you pay at a lower rate rather than a higher rate? Makes sense to me. What about you, Dale? Would you rather pay taxes when it's lower rather than higher?
Oh, no, I would love it to go to 100%. No. Yeah, you get Uncle Sam out of it now while taxes are low.
Yeah,
tax
and doing
rates are
your
low.
tax review with Dale Soutas, financial advisor here of Soutas Financial, is absolutely no cost to you. I will say this, if your financial advisor isn't asking to take a look at your tax returns with you, you're only getting part of the picture. This is part of the process for Dale Soutas. Let's make sure that you're being as tax efficient as possible with your withdrawals in retirement. Call 833-856-1382. Call it right now. That's all the time that we have this week, but operators will still be standing by to schedule your no-cost appointment. Taxes, healthcare, investments. How do you create income that you can't outlive? That's what Dale and the team does every single day in their offices. Thanks for listening to Retire Your Way, California. Call that phone number or go to his website, soutas.com, SOUTAS.com. As a valued radio listener of Retire Your Way, Dale and his entire team of retirement professionals invite you to schedule your very own complimentary retirement plan review session. 833-856-1382 is the number for you to call. If you don't have a retirement strategy mapped out that includes low-fee investment elections, tax minimization strategies, decumulation plans that will last as long as you need them to, then call for your very own retirement review session, complimentary for our valued radio listeners. Are you able to lower your taxes in retirement? Are you unclear about your Social Security, Medicare, investment fees, and risk, or how to produce guaranteed lifetime income so your lifestyle and goals don't have to be changed with the ups and downs of the market or taxes? Call Dale Soutas with Soutas Financial and be confident you can retire your way. Schedule your own comprehensive and complimentary retirement review session. Don't just live in retirement, thrive. Call 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
Investment advisory services are offered through Foundations Investment Advisors, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. The content provided is intended for informational and educational purposes only. The views, statements, and opinions expressed herein are those of the individual speakers and are not necessarily those of Foundations and its affiliates. The information contained herein does not constitute an offer to sell any securities or represent an express or implied opinion or endorsement of any specific investment opportunity, offering, or issuer. Any discussion of performance or returns is not indicative of future results. Any discussions of specific strategies are for informational purposes only and have been provided to help determine whether they may be appropriate for your specific situation. If applicable, the primary goal in converting retirement assets into a Roth IRA is to reduce the future tax liability on the distributions you take in retirement or on the distributions of your beneficiaries. Each individual investor situation is different, and any ideas provided may not be appropriate for for your particular circumstances. Comments regarding a particular client's experience may or may not be the same as another client's experience, and is not an indication that any client or prospective client will experience the same or a higher level of future success or performance. Foundations only transacts business in states where it is properly registered or is excluded or exempted from registration requirements. Registration as an investment advisor is not an endorsement of the firm by securities regulators and does not mean the advisor has achieved a specific level of skill or ability. Nothing herein constitutes a recommendation that any security, portfolio of securities, or investment strategy is suitable for any specific person. No legal or tax advice is provided. Please review your retirement, tax, and legacy planning strategies with a legal or tax professional before transacting or implementing any strategy discussed herein. Any comments regarding safe and secure investments and guaranteed income streams refer only to fixed insurance products. They do not refer in any way to investment advisory products. Rates and guarantees provided by insurance products and annuities are subject to the financial strength of the issuing company, not guaranteed by any bank or the FDIC. This is not endorsed or affiliated with the Social Security Administration, any federal Medicare program, nor any U.S. government agency. If applicable, we do not offer every plan in your area, and contacting us at the phone numbers provided herein will direct you to a licensed insurance agent. Any information we provide is limited to those plans we do offer in your area. Please contact Medicare.gov or 1-800-MEDICARE to get information on all of your options. All rights reserved.